It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're reacting and having a discussion about a video from Refined titled Why Killers Are Suffering. And I've been meaning to talk about this topic for quite a while, so I want to actually hear other perspectives discussing the same topic. I have been interested in this topic for a long time. So let's go ahead and dive in. So let's go ahead and begin. Original video is linked in the description so you can watch it on your own. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about a couple of talking points here.
Anxiety. What is it exactly? Well, in the simplest form, killer anxiety is not knowing what is going to happen in a game that increasingly feels more oppressive to one side. It's knowing that what you are about to commit to is overwhelmingly stressful, and there are genuine ways you will be pushed, perhaps even bullied or degraded based on your performance. Yes, of course, I'm speaking about the killer role in Dead by Daylight. Just like real anxiety in life, it stops you from doing the things you would love to do, and many people don't even try to understand it, which...
Yeah, that is probably the best way to describe killer anxiety. Killer anxiety is a real thing that people do experience. I personally have experienced it before. I've spoken to people who have experienced it. And killer anxiety has even extended to when I have done coaching for people that were new to the game. And they had decided that they would just pick Survivor only around that time. Because of the fact that it was just too anxiety inducing to continue to play killer. And it's quite sad to say. And it's a sad reality for a lot of killer players, especially with the state of the game that it is now. And speaking from personal experience as well, like I've had plenty of times where I would be interested in trying to play the game. I would then load up the game and kind of just sit there for a while, right? Kind of think about it, like, do I really want to play this game today and just absolutely hate my experience, like to absolutely waste my time with a game that I don't even enjoy in the first place? I just didn't really seem like it was worth it. Or I would be loading into a game anyway, and then kind of be overly concerned with the outcome. And just like how Refined says, and just like how I'm sort of describing, it's just kind of what happens, right? Like it can happen to you, happen to people, and it's a big focus on the outcome. It's a big focus on, you know, sort of that feeling of embarrassment that people are essentially laughing at you for failing, right? And I know there's been some people that do clown players for experiencing those things, but you know, we have to understand that this is, you know, everybody is still a human being. Like, we still also experience things just like each other. And I think that just because you specifically have not experienced it or think you have not experienced it does not mean that other people also share that same thing. You know what I mean? Like, this is still something that does happen from time to time. Even as somebody like myself, who is a veteran, I would say at this point, has experienced it even, like I would say pretty recently too. Like it can happen to people.
I say, you should. If you are someone who looks at people who suffer with anxiety and you laugh or you say, grow up, you are very, very privileged to not have a single clue how bad and degrading real anxiety can be. So how does this...
I 100% agree with that. And I literally was just touching on that topic about a second ago. That's very true. It is a privilege for those people to say confidently that they have not experienced that, to confidently say that they have not gone through that experience before. So that is very true. I agree with that.
Relate to killer anxiety in a video game? Well, the obvious first. If there is anyone who already suffers with anxiety, it will be multiplied due to the reasons we will discuss today when it comes to touching the killer role. It relates because you have no idea what you are going up against, and there is a sense of expectation to do well, knowing you can be bullied, having the fear of people laughing at you, or being posted all over online for your mistakes. It's also knowing that you are alone in the...
That is 100% accurate, I have to say. I think Refined nails it when describing that experience what people are going through. I think absolutely just hits the nail on the head. That's exactly what it is. I've talked about this in another video before where I had said that the anxiety probably stems from the outcome, and it stems from knowing that you're probably, if you do badly, because therefore you can't practice and actually improve, um, due to the fear that you're gonna end up in a um sort of what do you call it? You're gonna end up in a TikTok compilation. You're gonna end up in like a brain rot sort of video with a bunch of clips and memes and shit like that. Like you're just gonna end up there, and then it'll get like a million views, and then you'll be the butt of the joke, and stuff like that. Like people don't want to be bullied, right? They want to be the bully, but they don't want to be bullied. I've spoken to another DBD streamer who actually did speak about their killer anxiety that they experienced. That they actually stated that they did not play any killer for like I think 8 months when starting the game, because of the fact that it was their experiences with having played a lot of Survivor with friends, and also bullying like killers and stuff like that. They felt like they didn't want to also be bullied themselves, and that is the reality of the killer role, unfortunately. And of course, like how Refine says, you're even alone in the role. Like there's really no help. Like it's extremely reliant on yourself, and you are essentially the center of the match, right? Like the killer that you choose is the killer that they're going to face, and then that's the killer that they're going to have to experience. And your level of experience will determine a lot of the time, what they have to go up against and how successful they're going to be. And I think that's a lot of pressure for a lot of people. And speaking for myself, of course, like when it comes down to even when I started playing this game, it wasn't easy. You know what I mean? I was going in blind essentially and trying to figure out how to win games. And I was playing Trapper, and it wasn't easy. Got bullied constantly, right? Like didn't know like what to use, what perks were good, didn't have any perks at the time. And I described the experience of this game like a sort of sink or swim, in my opinion. Like I think that you can either like you're sort of thrown into the ocean that is DBD, and you either can sink, never play killer again, or never play the game again, or you're gonna swim and you're gonna fight against the waves and try to survive the toxicity that the game has for you and make it to the top. And I think that's sort of the way that I've gone, the direction that I've went with this game. And that's why I personally don't play for whimsy. I don't play for the fun aspect of it, where we look at the sky and nod at each other and teabag and do all this nonsense. I just don't do that. And I think that's because of how I entered into the game and how I was sort of treated when I was playing the game. Because I was sent plenty of messages on PlayStation, constantly, insulting, berating, whatever have you. Everything under the sun was sent to me. Whether I won or lost, same thing. You know what I mean? It was just like constant toxicity from survivors. So as a result, like it led to me just sort of playing the game in order to win, not even remotely concerned with my opponent, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to play the game for my enjoyment. And that is sort of what formed my perspective of the game now. And I just look at the game, as a game where you need to just kind of focus on yourself. Like the only thing that you can control is how you feel about the game and how you experience the game in those kinds of ways. And so that's why I'm not really concerned with whimsy and trying to create an experience for others when they never tried to create an experience for new players. They never do. They don't care about somebody who's brand new. They just want to go against brand new players so that they can get free clips and bully them. But let's continue.
Killer role. Although you are playing the supposed power role, you feel outnumbered, and worst, silenced. Why would you feel...
I want to add on to what Refined is saying. Not only do you feel outnumbered, silenced, but you also feel weak as a power role, mind you. I've said this many times. It's really interesting to me that a game where you play as some of the most iconic horror villains in film, and even more so playing as original monsters and characters that are brand new to the game, right? Like or exclusive to the game rather, like monsters, like literal like disgusting people. You're playing as them with powers, like you have the ability, like these unique abilities across different killers to do these different things to aid you in killing. And it's like, that role feels like shit. That role feels like a weakling. You feel like a loser, like when you play that role. And it's like, why don't you feel strong? Like, why would you not feel powerful? Like, that's crazy to me. You know what I mean? And like a good example I would say in comparison is something like Friday the 13th, in my opinion. From when I played it, and when I was able to play Jason, I thought that was some of the most fun times I've had, because you really do feel like Jason in that way. Like, you know, you can hear them, and sometimes they even had like their microphones in. You hear them yelling and like screaming in fear. Like, you're breaking down doors like in seconds. Like, you're walking through walls and shattering them, and like the windows get shattered, and then like the lights go out, and then you can hear like them freak out. Like, there's different things that do make you seem more scary, but also just different aspects that like make you feel strong. Because I would say the concept would be Friday the 13th, like, you were able to equip weapons. Like, you could use a baseball bat or other weapons. I forgot what other ones that were there. I know there was like a flare gun and stuff like that you could use on Jason, and he would get slowed down, he would get stunned, he would get hit, you know what I mean, he'd get beat up, but you still had the risk of, like, if he gets up and grabs me, I will die. Like, I need to have somebody near me to save me if I get grabbed here. And that part I always thought was nice, because like it gave you a little bit of both, where like you can get beat up, or you can be a camper, or a counselor, I think it was called, and you could beat up Jason a little bit, right? You can beat him up and be like, yo, get off of him, whatever, and you can feel like you're in the movie. But at the end of the day, you know, like, it's still Jason, and he's unstoppable. And that, I think, captures what it is to be a villain in a horror movie. Like, you should be able to feel like you're strong, you're powerful, like you're a force to be reckoned with, considering that they're just regular people. Like, they're just regular people holding lunchboxes and flashlights. Like, why are they more threatening than a literal eldritch monster, like a literal like dream demon, like a literal Michael Myers, like the Shape? Like, why are these like characters just feel so terrible? Like, I just think that's so wild to me that that's even a thing. And yeah, that's just mainly
asking players for genuine feedback so they can curate ideas in the right direction and sort specific pain points out. In every single one of these surveys, they have completely left out a voice for killer players. And yes, I know, before anyone says, well, there are 4 survivors to 1 killer and that they need the money, yes they do, but without the 1 killer, the game doesn't work. And
I agree with Refined on that. As much as they tried to claim that there was surveys that offered a voice for people, it was only just for survivors. There was never a question for killer, or if there was, it was a lackluster question. It didn't give enough ideas for context. It didn't give enough credit for context. It didn't give anything for those people to actually explain what their issues with the game are. And Refined is incredibly accurate when he says that without the killer, there really is no match. You know, and the thing is that there's a lot of people who are playing this game that just don't want to acknowledge, I guess, or want to face killers, I guess, because like they're DCing when they just take a hit. They're DCing because they hear a terror radius they don't like. They're DCing because they get a map they don't like. They're DCing because their perk didn't work. They're DCing because just, you know, the killer breathed the wrong way. And it begs the question, like, why are they playing this game if they're not even trying to engage with the game? Like, the game is about being chased by a killer. The game is about trying to team up and escape. The game is about completing an objective. The game is about trying to counter perks if you know how to counter them. The game is about horror. Like, it's supposed to feel like you're going against an unstoppable force. Like, why is that such a foreign concept to these people?
And if they ever did add killer bots to the game, that would put the game on life support if it isn't already with the amount of bugs. It is integral to make sure killer players' voices are heard just as loud and clear as survivors, for inclusion, respect, and fairness. When this doesn't happen, you create a divide in your community, which, by the way, behavior, we already have. It's called the us versus them. You are fueling this by listening to one side and ignoring and silencing the other.
Yep, that's true. That is very true. The us versus them narrative is extremely prevalent within the DVD community. And the thing is that I really don't like about specifically within the DVD community is the idea that people will sit on the fence so heavily. Like they will sit on the fence so like that you would think like they're you would think that they were like snails at the end of that one SpongeBob episode, like meowing into the moon because they just sit on the fence all day, right? And it's like the evidence is there to prove this, that, and a third. Like there is enough evidence given to prove that this particular side is being favored. Like this particular updates are not are way out of line. And for whatever reason, they just want to sit there on that fence. And it's like, well, we need to be fully aware here that this is still a thing. Like this is still happening. Like we can see with our own eyes, like this is what's happening. And I just really am not a fan of it because it's like, you know, and then they want to claim it's bias, right? And my response really to that is like, it can't really be biased if we're going off of evidence. It'd be biased to ignore evidence and to only push the narrative we believe. But the fact of the matter is like every time we engage with another point, it doesn't contain the same level of evidence compared to the other. So that is really where I stand when it comes to that, at least.
You are, as developers, contributing directly to the stress of a large group of your community and player base. It doesn't matter if you are a survivor player, a killer player, or both. All should be just as heard as anyone else when we are all human and all have committed time to your game. Leaving one side in the dark sends a message. When Behavior release a bunch of surveys that fail to even give a single voice to killer players, you make these individuals feel out of touch, like they're not a part of your game, like their fun and their voices aren't appreciated or respected. This directly contributes to killer anxiety because you know as a killer player that your thoughts or feelings are never addressed. So
I agree with that 100%. I think that accurately describes it, and that's what I've been stating in a lot of my videos recently, has just really been that it really just seems as if the devs really do not seem to care about the killer side, and that just is just what it seems like. It may not even be that way. They probably are just so blindly incompetent that it comes off that way. But what the evidence shown from surveys, from who they're asking, from the data collection, from the updates, from even the response to these things, and even from the information that they supposedly are giving to say, hey, we got this information from this survey and it's reflecting all these things, to basically show us like they don't care all of a sudden, like it's like we're wrong, right? And it's like, but how, right? Like the evidence is all there.
when you jump on and have to eat 25 pallets or more in one game, and you barely have any time to play due to the gen speeds going insanely fast, you simply feel like you are isolated. It reinforces the fact that you are alone, playing a solo role with all the pressure on your shoulders. It almost sounds like if you are not willing to sweat like your life depends on it, there is no reason to play this role. So what?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that completely. I think that there is really a lack of casualness on Killer that is extremely evident, I think. Like extremely. I think that it's extremely important to point out like how extremely sweaty you need to play on Killer now. Like it's been evident for a while, because as I listen to these videos and as I continue to try to find other creators that are also speaking out about their frustrations with the game, and I analyze how they're playing, or I analyze like the sort of what do you call it, not evidence, but the backlog, I guess, of information that they have. Like for example, like this is like one of the best Vecna mates, right? Like I can also look at somebody else who's talking about the game, and they could probably be a casual player trying to use a meme build on Doctor that I've spoken, like that's a video I've spoken about a long time ago. And that's when I knew like that the game is heading in the wrong direction, because if a player like Refined and like myself, like even Shrouded Ghostface, you name it, like we're top level like mains out of who we play at, and we're experiencing super fast gens. Pallets are crazy. Second chances are through the roof. Like maps are unbalanced. Da 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 da. You name it. And then I'm looking at somebody who also is a casual, who probably doesn't have the highest MMR, probably average or low, and is getting the same exact experience as a high level player. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. You know what I mean? Like that just sounds completely strange and off, right? And that already goes to show how unbalanced the game has become. Because I've only seen like the fastest gens in the West around like when I would play a couple like many months ago. Red's gaming gears, I think we were at the same MMR. I would see the same names as he would face. I would have the same gen speeds. Like it would be pretty much the same thing. So I knew that we were at the same level. And back then I was like, okay, maybe most people aren't really experiencing this. Like maybe this is the high MMR, unfortunately, and it's just unfun, but fine. But then it's like now it's like almost everybody's experiencing the super fast gens. Everybody's going through this now, and it's like that's the moment that I realized like this is a big prevalent problem within the game right now. This is a massive issue. That the gen speed is crazy. The pallets I think have been adjusted now, and I don't know how much better they are because I've not been playing the game. I much prefer having my sanity intact. But still.
What about casual killers? Do they not deserve to play? Do they not have the right? Because what if they don't want to fight tooth and nail just to try and achieve a win, or even a 2k at best? It's almost like although the devs silence killers and just expect them to deal with things without even asking for their input, they also expect you to try your hardest. However, on the other side of the field, there is no expectation that is the same for Survivor. You see, it's only the killer role that is forced to sweat their minds off, not like survivors who, when sitting on a generator hitting skill checks, can just switch off for a little bit. When you play as killer, every single second from the match starting to when it ends requires focus and brain power.
Yep, 100% accurate from Refined there. 100% accurate from Refined, man. I gotta say, Refined has certainly refined his points to be as accurate as possible, because that is extremely accurate. I've made this comparison a couple months ago, and I'm going to make it again. When survivors will spawn onto the gens from the start of the game. Now they say that the spawn changes were supposed to change that. Clearly it hasn't. So from the very get-go, killers are losing gen progress. They're right as they spawn, right? Because if you have lethal, you can see it yourself. You'll have 4 people across the map, and you'll see gens are directly in front of them. They all run up, boom, 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. Like all of that is each step you take, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%. So say it takes you 10 seconds to get there, that's 10% on 2 gens already. Then on top of that, you have to also take into account, well, I need to pressure this person because they're on gens, but then the other 3 are going to come back to this one, so I had to down them fast. And if it doesn't, say it takes you 20 seconds, that's over, what, 30-40% of the gen done? Say you get them down, and say you're running pain res, you use it on, it only affects 1 gen, so the other gen that was not at, say, 40%, while the other one was at 39%, the 40% one will be blown up, but then the 39% now is at 42%. And now it's going to keep rising and rising until it's already done. And that's in a perfect scenario. And it's like the math ain't mathin'. Like there is just, these killers are not able to keep up like that. You know, and it's why a lot of us run corrupt off the bat. It's a lot of the reason why a lot of low tiers are just running the most, at least I personally run the most passive slowdown that I can, because I don't want to be concerned with pain res not working, grim not working, dead man's not working, like some eruption not going off. Like I can't be concerned with perks that aren't gonna do anything when I am not able to do anything myself. Like with Ghostface, for example, it's like it's not worth it. And it just goes without saying that it definitely is going to require you to use your brain way more when it comes down to DBD. And I think that is why people are really not playing killer. I think that's why a lot of people left. And I think that's why a lot of people are probably not going to play, because they're interested in playing the killers, but then they realize like it's not even worth it. And then they just don't play. And then you just like lose players before you even start. And it's all encompassing. You know what I mean? All these things are all encompassed into adding into killer anxiety. Who wants to load up a game where they have to sweat and sweat and sweat all day long? Speaking as somebody who enjoys winning, I understand that going in I have to sweat, but it gets exhausting. So, there's been times where I play a match and then I just sit there for like maybe 10 minutes until I just close the application, because I'm like, I'm done. I did the one match. I'm exhausted mentally. Like I have to constantly be trying to like think like I gotta time this perfectly, and I gotta like time this right, and then I have to make sure this is below this amount of time, and also put this on and make sure this happens and this map, and it's too much. But then on Survivor, it's like, you just hear the Rugrats song like that, like just walking around, and you get to touch the gen for a long time and hit a couple space bars, and like, yay, like you just get to do a run and do nothing. Like I just get sick of it, man. Like, it's like, and I just find it boring, you know? It's like either way, it sucks.
You never switch off playing this role. It is by nature more taxing on the mental than Survivor. So what happens when you deprive the players who choose this role of a voice or a way to give feedback on how they feel? It adds to killer anxiety. It adds to stress, and it creates more frustration. Why? Because right now the killer experience is abysmal. What do I mean by this? Well, 90% of the killer roster is hurt severely because of the pallet density update. The thought of loading into a game to simply eat pallet after pallet after pallet whilst you just listen to gens pop left, right, and center.
Yep, 100% true. Honestly, like Refine just hits the nail right on the head every single time. I mean, there is just so much to say in so little time, you know, and it's incredible to hear it. And that's why I want to also use the opportunity to let you guys know that you're not alone in this. Like, you're also, you know, a part of this community of killer players. We all want to come together, just like Refined is also trying to give you guys a voice. I'm trying to give you guys a voice so that you guys can know that you're not alone in this, that you're not the only person that's experiencing killer anxiety, the only person that's not trying to play a killer, the only person that is not having fun. And that is the purpose. Like, that is the reason why we're here. That is the reason why we're doing what we're doing. And that is mainly the goal here. And I want to speaking of, I want to know what you guys think in the comments section about what you think of the topic, the video, and everything. Consider watching Refine's full video on your own. The link is in the description. Consider joining the Discord and hitting the knife in the rules, the little emoji at the bottom, so you can speak with the rest of us and connect with the rest of the community to talk about either DBD or other things. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned for my members. Well, I wanted to go ahead and take some time out to thank all my members from Patreon with Crow King 101, my YouTube members, Majora Jeff, Endire, Evil Peachy YT, Zero Mocker, Christian, HexDev, and Crow Vader, and for my Twitch subscribers, Cake is the Road, Danica 2002, Final Girl _ Bunny, Acklefin, Chili Cinderace, Zero Mocker, Ginsburg, Johns 117 _ Lovely Ghost TTV, Jar TTV, Zazaboo, and Crow Vader. Just wanted to thank you guys. And if you also want to have your name read off at the end of every video, make sure you join on one of these platforms to get one of those perks, as well as the other perks you get. So, appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much.